Hello, you guys. It's Trendy with Allison. Welcome. This interview today is with Natalie Salcedo, and I recorded this interview with Natalie. I think she goes by Natty in November of last year. So keep that in mind when you're listening, because I think she references the holidays. I had so much fun. I have so much fun when I go back and listen. It feels like you're reminiscing with an old friend. It's kind of crazy weird, but crazy cool at the same time. So it's pretty fun to do that, especially when months go by. In this interview, you'll notice Natalie, she was super, super nervous at the beginning. And then, as most guests, she starts to warm up as the interview goes on. Her story, she has a neat story, and she's very open and transparent, which I appreciate. And one thing she validated was something that I say all of the time, that we don't find hair finds us, because she graduated from high school with her cosmetologist license, and then went to college, got her degree, and then circled back, found her way back to hair. So that's interesting. She's a BTC Team member, and she was very transparent about her experience with in that space, which we'd all be interested to hear. Some people are supportive, and of course, as always, there are people who are not. She was very open about her mental health and where she struggles with anxiety and depression, and gives words of encouragement for those of us who are trying to amass a following on social media. And, basically what a lot of people say, just be true to yourself. It's your world, it's your page. Do whatever you want to do. It's your page. Those who will follow do, and those who won't. That's what it is. She's a brand ambassador for Moroccan Oil and some other brands to come. And again, you guys, as a reminder, your likes, comments, subscriptions to the channel, reviewing the podcast episodes on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast, all of those things help with my analytics and algorithm. Those downloads mean something that everything means something, really. And I want to continue to bring you guys these amazing stories. And I think as I get more comfortable and I get better in this space, so will the interviews, and the stories will become more dynamic. So I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. And before I go with this intro, I have a guest coming on that I'm excited about. His name is Hunter Donia, and that's Donia. Hopefully I pronounced that right. His IG handle is at Hair by Hunty. I'm excited about this guest in particular because he has his own podcast called The Modern Hairdresser, and I do listen to his podcast. He has a good podcast. His format doesn't have guests, but of course mine does. So I'm so happy to collaborate with him, at least on my end, where he can come on my show, because obviously he doesn't have guests. I won't be on his, so we won't be doing a crossover. But he has agreed to come on the show, and it's going to be just a fun rap session about real life and hair that I don't think you guys are going to want to miss. Alrighty, you guys, enjoy the show.
Hi guys, Natalie Salcedo here, aka Natty the Stylist, and you're listening to Trendy with Allison.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Trendy with Allison. And today, you guys, I am excited to introduce to you the incredibly talented Natalie Salcedo. Did I pronounce that right, Natalie?
Yes, you did.
Oh my God, I'm shocked. Natalie is an amazing master stylist who is based in Franklin, Massachusetts.
You got
Did
it.
I say that? And a member of the prestigious BTC team. I'm excited to talk a little bit about that. From mastering complex foil patterns to her work with Moroccan Oil, she brings her unique style and expertise in everything she does, as I've witnessed following her on the socials. Today, we'll dive into her journey, explore her favorite techniques, and get an insider's look into the industry. Are you ready to get inspired, everybody? Natalie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I am so excited that you're excited. And I always say I overuse the word excited. And that is because what does it mean? It means what it is, because I
hmm
am.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
yeah. So I'll keep using it until I think of something else. Anyway, let's get into your journey. Tell me real quick how long you've been in hair.
So I've been doing hair technically since I was about 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
I went to a vocational high school, so I figured out I wanted to be a hairdresser very early in life. And so I did, I went to a vocational school. By the time I graduated, I was a licensed hairdresser. When I was 18, I went to college, but I still stayed up to date with everything, still, renewed my license every year. And it came to a point when, after I graduated college, I was trying to find my way in the world and trying to, figure out where I fit in what industry. I had a kind of a little bit of an epiphany moment where I realized that I kept on thinking about going back to hair. And I want to say I was around 2018. That's when I started going back into hair. And 2019 is when I started working at the salon that I currently work at. And now I've been there for 5 years. I have an amazing, clientele that's been with me through, everything with COVID and everything like that. And I mean, I really am living my best life doing what I absolutely love, and it doesn't feel like work.
Oh my gosh, I can tell. I can
hmm
tell. I mean, wait until I show you guys watching some of her work and her reels and how much fun she has behind the chair. So you're working in the salon you love, living your best life, doing what you have a passion for, and that led you to be just kind of, what do they call it? Appointed? I don't know what they call it, to the BTC team,
Yes.
which is a huge accomplishment in our industry. We all know that. What has that experience been like for you? And how do you think it's influenced your career?
I feel like it's been great so far. I was invited to be on the team. I believe it was last year, right before the BTC show in Austin, and it was just, I never go into anything thinking like, oh, I definitely like feel like I should be. I'm like, oh, I really hope they consider me, and so I've been on their radar for, a couple of years. I remember it was, again, everything in my hairdresser life starts in 2020.
Mhm.
And I just feel like I was at a standstill where I didn't know if I was going to go back into work, or, how life would look like, coming back with these new guidelines and everything. And I felt like the only way to kind of, put myself out there was to start making videos. And, then I started getting into more of the funny videos. But I feel like once I popped up on their radar, they became the girls at the BTC influencer team. They've been such like a great, form of support with me. Once they were like, "Oh, I like this girl's content," they would like message me and would always be like, "Keep up the good work," stuff like that. And by the way, like you might be good for like this, or we're thinking about doing this. And I'm like, hey, I'm here to try anything. I'll never say no to anything that I haven't tried. And I feel like being brought into a group of like-minded individuals who kind of have the same passion as me opened up a whole network of stylists that I didn't know I could have achieved in this industry, where everyone is like rooting for each other, and everyone wants to see everyone win. And I am very lucky because one of my best friends is on the BTC team, and she pretty much kind of helped me get to where I am. So I feel like my experience so far has just been, it's been positive, and I, just appreciate knowing that there's people that I can lean on if, I have any trouble, if I'm struggling with something, whether it's, behind the chair or my personal life, or, struggling with, trying something out as far as like a product goes.
Yeah, it's probably it sounds like it's a bit of a sisterhood or a
Yeah.
brotherhood
Yeah.
or just a nice little club to be a part of.
Hmm.
And I'm happy to hear you say there is that camaraderie and that you do have people you can lean on, and that you guys have formed a family, that sense
Hmm.
of community. That makes us stronger. I'm happy to hear that because it's such a uh, prestigious place to be, really, as a platform. They do get a lot of reach
Hmm.
in our community, and they can change lives. So, kudos to the person who created Behind the Chair. I know a little bit about her,
Hmm.
and kudos for you guys keeping that community and growing it stronger.
Yeah.
I've heard mixed reviews about it. So it is nice to talk to someone in the inside who can share a real experience versus hearsay, third
Yeah.
party, whatever, right?
Mhm.
And so that gives me a better perspective. So I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So if you are a new hairdresser coming into the industry and you aspire to be a part of, so what you're saying is that was just raw and organic. You were, posting your videos, minding your own business, and the outreach came from them to you. And from there, you established a relationship that led you to becoming a team member.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's just doing quality work and posting it. I guess that
Yep.
would be the path.
Yep. And tagging the right people, making sure that at the end of the day, don't try to go for, oh, I saw this, so I should definitely do this. It definitely should come from the heart. And I feel like a lot of people, especially nowadays, are very worried about, like, oh, like I didn't post this because it wasn't perfect. And I just feel like people, that stops you a lot from doing things because you don't think that people would like it, or if you feel like people don't think, or you don't think that it's going to make a difference. I feel like, you know, that also comes with coming older, becoming a little bit older, and being like, I just
Mm,
don't care anymore.
mhm.
Where, I'm going to post it, and if 10 people like it, that's fine to me. And if 100 people like it, that's even better. But
Yeah.
it's better than not posting it at all, because you never know who you can reach with your content. And, a lot of my content is definitely geared towards hairstylists, but I find a lot of my clients, they love watching my videos, even the educational videos. They're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but it just looks cool to see what you're doing in the back of my head. So I feel like just being true to yourself and posting what you feel just encapsulates what your work is behind the chair is the most important thing.
Yeah, and don't so what you're saying is don't be too contrived.
Hmm.
Don't try to create what you think is gonna get you somewhere. Just be yourself, and
Hmm.
whether they like it or not,
Hmm.
it's who you truly are.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love clients too because I have so many clients that follow this show even, and they're like, I don't know, it's so fun seeing you up there on there.
Mhm.
And I said, it's so cute. I love that support. Do you feel that you've gotten new clients from doing this?
Definitely. I feel like it had a lot to do with, in the beginning, I would pay to boost my post, and I would pay for ads and stuff. I think it was like $5 a day for 7 days, and it would be $35 a week. But that is, I would say, would contributed to a lot of the people that reached out to me on Instagram. They would be like, "Oh, I found you on Instagram. I found you on Instagram." I'm
Mhm.
like, "All right, cool." Like, at least, the stuff that I'm putting my money into actually works. So in the beginning, it was a lot of boosting my post and, paying for the ads. And then once I started to get a little bit more traction with my profile, I feel like it kind of like took on entity of its own, and I feel like I that's when I started to get even more people that were like, oh, like I saw you pop up in my explore page, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I didn't think that you would find me from there, but that's great to know that my, you know, my stuff goes out that far. And so I feel like it's a lot. I mean, it's the way of the our industry now. I feel like a lot of it, you know, Instagram is our digital, you know, lookbook. So I feel like people are now starting to look towards Instagram to find, you know, hairdressers,
Yeah.
you know, contractors, all those kind of
Mhm.
things. So I feel like I did, you know, receive a lot of my clients from Instagram, and then the rest were like word of mouth.
Yeah, I like that. And another guest told me, she said, "Don't sleep on Pinterest."
Oh yeah, that's very
She
true.
said a lot of your clients go to Pinterest to
Mhm.
look for hair inspiration.
Mhm.
So back to your journey with the BTC team. Yeah,
Yeah.
BTC, Kim. Okay. Yeah, it gets scrambled in my head, my dyslexic head.
Mhm.
The one shot awards are prestigious, but also come with some controversy, as we talked a little bit off camera. How do you feel about the rumors and politics surrounding the awards? Have you heard anything, about any kind of rumblings of any kind?
I
Or
mean,
are you
I
far
feel like
removed?
you know, you definitely hear everything. I mean, I see a ton of people doing videos like exposing everything.
Oh.
And I mean, I can't really say like whether it's true or not. Obviously, I would
Mhm.
like to, you know, be on the side where it's like, no, it's definitely true and fair. You know, there may be some coincidences, but
Yeah.
in my case, I just know last year I made it to the top 5 with my funny video, and me in a million years would never think that that would ever happen. Like I've been top 25 before, but to be top 5 for people to actually vote for me, I was very shocked. So if it was rigged, then like
Mm.
damn, that kind of stinks. Like
Yeah.
I
It
still
takes
got the
away it takes away from your great work, which is
mhm.
really great.
Mhm.
Right.
But I
Mhm.
feel like, you know, they definitely do give opportunities. And when I say they, I say BTC as a whole to try to spotlight people who, you know, don't have as many followers, that don't get a lot of reach on their profiles. So I feel like ever since those rumblings of that last year kind of changed the show this year, where they were really focusing on choosing, you know, the top 100 with people that are like, you know, I don't want to say like small accounts, but like people who have smaller followings. And,
No,
you know,
that's right. I mean,
yeah,
smaller accounts.
yeah. But it's you know, I feel like with everything, especially something this big, there's always gonna be, you know, talk on the side about this, and that, and the other thing. I feel like people should just really take it for what it is, and just, you know, I take it as an opportunity to meet all my friends that I've made on Instagram that, you know, live across the country or live in a different country. And I don't really worry that much about like the politics of it, because, you know, at the end of the day, like I'm a hairdresser, and what matters to me is my clients and, you know, my work behind the chair. And this, all of this stuff is just, you know, extra, and it's just, you know, the cherry on top. But, you know, it's definitely, you know, not super necessary. But there's no harm in putting yourself out there. And if somebody notices, then they notice. But, you know, I wouldn't, you know, think of anything malice from it, or thinking that, you know, they favor certain people because this and that, because I feel like, you know, I don't know. I feel like that's just like everywhere lately.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think that, the more I know, the clearer my head, the more focused I can be on what the gist is, or what,
Mhm.
not the gist, but what the, truth is, right?
Yeah.
I think, again, as I mentor all of the young hairdressers that I've mentored and continue to mentor, you are your own competition. It's your personal best that you are competing with always. And whether you win an award, don't win an award, whatever it is, you put your work into that. You put
Mhm.
your whole self, all of your creative juices into that, and you should be proud, period.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah. So unfortunately, though, the bigger a platform gets, the more haters hate. That's
Mhm.
just what it is, and it's just what it is. Okay.
Yep.
All right, Natalie, moving along. How do you stay inspired to create your fun videos and also keep the quality there?
TikTok, honestly, I doom scroll all
Mm.
the time. Anytime I'm on my couch, anytime I'm at home, I'm on TikTok scrolling. And it's not even specifically looking for content. I will be cracking up at this specific video because the sound is really funny. And I'll be like, oh, I wonder how I can make this hair related. And so I have two different TikToks because I have my personal TikTok where I like, I shit post and I, do random, dances and, random trends. It's mostly my dog that's on my personal, but that's where it's like my For You page is like curated to my personality and my humor. So I'll see something and I'll send it right to my hair TikTok. And then I'll go on my hair TikTok and I have like 100 messages from myself of all these different videos that I'm like, oh, this would be good with, if this had this caption and I did this instead of doing that. And so I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I don't want to brag, but humor comes really natural to me. I feel like I like being funny. I like making people laugh. And so if I see something that can translate very well into the hair industry, I definitely try to jump on that really quick.
Have you ever thought of doing stand up?
Oh God, no.
You're
I
not that,
could
you're more
not.
improv funny.
Very much improv and very much like, just like I'll walk by and say something funny, but I could not. Oh my God, it would be so bad. It would be just word vomit the entire time.
Ah, so you've never ever thought that.
Oh, no, no, no.
That is hilarious. I would think that that's something you'd be such a natural at doing, but it's a whole different skill set, right? Is
Oh,
we're acting
100%.
versus trying to keep someone's attention for 5 minutes. That's
Mm-hmm.
hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When it comes to your beautiful work, which we're gonna get into now, color, extensions, cutting, I see that you kinda do it all.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite part of all of the techniques that you do?
I
Are they all equal?
like yes and no in a way because I feel like everything as far as like cutting and coloring, they both go hand in hand because a beautiful color can be enhanced with a gorgeous haircut.
Mhm.
Extensions I love because I am very particular person, very nitpicky. I'm very much a perfectionist. So the fact that it's like you have to have crisp sections, you have to be very precise with, everything. It's the kind of attention to detail that I thrive on. And then as far as with like color and cutting, I just like, well, what I like about all of it is that there's no one size fits all in the situation where like one thing will work on one person, but it won't work on the next person, depending on
Mhm.
like what, the head shape or lifestyle or,
Mhm.
depending on like where they want to be and where they're at. So I like how you can kind of put your own twist in things and kind of put your own personal stamp on it. And I just like the fact that this industry is an ever evolving industry where
Yes.
you'll never stop learning. And I feel like when you stop learning is when you become stagnant and you
Mhm.
get too comfortable and then you start, you almost kind of start getting bored. So I like being challenged every now and then. But I just like it just something about this job or this career that just itches a certain part of my brain that like I just can't get away from. Like there's times where I'm like, could I really like do something else? Like could I go back to like working a 9 to 5? And I'm like, absolutely not. No, because like I
Nah.
would never be like fulfilled or satisfied at the like every single day when I leave work, I feel like I accomplished something. I feel satisfied because I'm like, oh, like I did, 3 or 4 clients today and they all came out great. And even if it doesn't come out great, I still had an opportunity to change it or fix it or make it right. And then from there, that's learning, a learning lesson.
Oh, yeah, and me, I'm the opposite of you. When something doesn't turn out great, I have nightmares about it.
Oh, I still get nightmares, but you know, fake it
I'm
till you
like,
make it
"Oh
if
my
I'm
god, that's
client.
all I can think about is the one thing that I didn't do," you
Mhm.
know? Do you have, before we get into all of your color work, do you have, are you doing all of the different extension techniques, and do you have a favorite brand or product that you love? And we will get
So
into your Moroccan Oil brand deal here as well.
So I am certified through Bellamy Hair Extensions, and
Okay.
I exclusively use them for now. I love the quality of their hair. I had a really good instructor for our certification class, and I feel
Mhm.
like it's just one of those things where I feel like no matter where or what kind of extensions you want to do, there's always like a specific way to do it, and I
Mhm.
love structure. I love you know, rules in a way where, you know, this is how
Mm.
you do it and things like that. But I mostly do sew-ins with weft extensions. um
Okay.
I would love to dabble in K-tips, but that's a little bit daunting, and I really don't
Yeah.
do the tape-ins or anything like that.
So you don't work with the adhesive type
No.
stuff?
Oh no, that
Okay.
that stuff scares me.
Oh. Well, the last guest that I interviewed just before you, her name is Cindy Earl, Kovic. I think she goes by the Detroit Specialist or something like
Mhm.
that. Anyway, she does all things, and she's doing even the V lights, which I'm
Wow.
terrified. I'm like, "Oh." So, whew, I know when things are sticky in people's hair, then I'm like, "No, this is
Yeah.
scary."
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's get into some of your work, which is so amazing. I want to show this funny one first to introduce everyone else to your funniness. Oh my gosh. So, is this something that you saw on TikTok and you said, "Oh, I'm bringing that to behind the chair"?
Well, fun fact about me, Family Guy is one of my favorite TV shows. I watched every single episode at least 4 or 5 times from the first season up to the current season. So I feel like there's a Family Guy reference to every aspect of my life. So when that sound started trending on TikTok, I was like, oh, I know exactly what to do with it. And I had another couple ideas, but I was like talking to my coworkers. I was like, but it would be funny. Would it be funny if I did this or this? And they kind of like helped me get the wording right. And but yeah, no, that's just one of those, you know, one of my brainchilds that like kind of just like popped up in my head, and I was like, okay, I know exactly what to do with this. But
That's amazing.
yeah.
And I didn't even know it was a Family Guy reference. That's how
Oh, I
just
can tell you
duh I
exactly
am.
like what episode, at what part, you know, what they did after the scene. Like it's really embarrassing.
Do you have somebody filming this for you, or do you have a tripod set up?
So the girl that's in the video, she filmed it for me, and then for this part, I put it on a tripod.
Okay, so this is a client or a coworker?
This was a coworker of mine.
Okay. So your clients, you're not practicing on them, or do you have are they
Some,
down?
some. I film like with my friends. I'll film stuff on my friends, but when it comes to, I don't think I've ever. There's only one video where I had like an actual client, and my when I mean client, it was like one of my friends. But I usually try to do it myself. You know, I
Okay.
try to, do like the different hats. I'll put my glasses on for one frame, take my glasses off for the other frame, and then if I do want to do it with someone, I have like a list of people that like I would choose that like I know don't care about being like
Sure.
on Instagram and stuff like that, and like support my shenanigans and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure they get your personality during their hair appointment, so they probably wouldn't even be surprised
They
if
would
you
not
were
be
to ask
phased
them,
at
they'd be
all.
like, "Yeah, I wanna be," because yes, our clients, we end up cultivating a clientele that's kinda like us,
Oh,
right?
100%.
Ye
So this is a full foil on I one of my favorite clients. Her name is Kat. She actually comes to me from New York. and she comes every like between 8 and 10 weeks to get a full foil with me. And she has a lot of hair, so we really got to pack in the foils. But she is a really good noodle. She does her homework. She takes care of her hair at home, so she's able to go this long in between her appointments, and it doesn't really affect, the health or the outcome of the results. But I with full foils, I feel like all of it, once you've seen it once, you've seen it all. So I like doing these like quicker forms of videos because, you know, you can only say so much about what you're doing, but having someone watch the full like, subsection that you do kind of
Yeah.
gives them an idea of, okay, like, she's doing, foils to the scalp, and she's like starting on one side instead of, doing like a regular, different placement and things like that.
Yeah. How long would it take you to do something like this?
Oh, I'm a slow foiler. So if for a full foil, it takes me about an hour and a half to apply. But I know that I'm slow, so I start with very low developer. I start with like 5 on the bottom because I know those are going to be sitting for a while. And then I, work my way up. I don't use anything higher than 20 volume because
Yeah.
personally, 30 and 40 scare the living bejesus out of me.
As it should.
And so I'm a low and slow girly. I like to cook them low and slow. I like them to like marinate for a little bit before, the lightener just busts their cuticle wide open.
Yeah.
So I definitely prioritize taking my time and making sure that my sectioning is perfect and that my application is perfect. Because with something like this and with so many foils, it can get messy and you can get, lazy towards the end. But
Oh, yeah.
I feel
Mhm.
like, I'm always excited for the end result before they even sit in my chair. So that kind of motivates me to like, don't lose your steam because you're only halfway through the back of the head. You still have the rest to go. But yeah, it would take me an hour and a half to do the actual application. She sits for 30 minutes tops, and then we pull out the foils, we tone her super bright. And, I feel like altogether it's like a 3.5, 4 hour appointment.
Okay. And what's your favorite toner these days? I
I
know it depends on level, where you're starting and
Mhm,
how much brightness you want to expose.
mhm.
Um, are you using shades these days, or are you a Schwarzkopf girl or
I
Joico or
recently I've been actually using Moroccan Oil color
Oh,
clip
that's
though.
right, and we are
Yeah.
going to get into that.
Yeah, so
Yes.
their toners are definitely my favorite. I feel
Okay.
like the more I work with them, the more I understand the technology and the color theory behind their formulation of the colors. So I feel like, Moroccan I'm a Moroccan Oil girly full and full. Before I even started working with them, I loved their stuff. So being able to actually work with their color and, I've taken classes at their academy in New York, and it's just, it's once you're exposed to like that kind of like world where you like pretty much like step into their world and learn everything about them, you kind of become a lifer where that's all, it, you're comfortable with it, you're comfortable with experimenting. But I would say right now my favorite toner would be it's hard because they have a lot of good ones, but my favorite ones are they recently came out with this line. It's the natural chocolates, the
Mm.
9CHB, I think. It's like NCHB or something like that. Is like the most beautiful, bright blonde. And you could use it at like a level 9 and it's still going to be super bright. But
Really? And you called it natural chocolates.
so
Level 9.
it's a level 9. It's a very, very light, like I want to say like almost like a white chocolate kind of tone.
Got you. You're saying
Yeah,
white chocolate. Got
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Because my dumb brain went brown.
But they also have a lot of good brown tones too. Like they have level 6, 4, 5. I feel like a lot of people are embracing the warm tones because now they're understanding that you can't get bright without the warmth. So
Mhm.
I feel like people are now shifting to more of like the neutrals, the warms, and it makes me excited because it gives me a whole different ball game to play, when back in like
Yeah,
2020 it was all icy blondes, cool blondes,
that's
all
right.
that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
being able to embrace the warmth and embrace warm pigments in my client's hair, excuse me, it makes it easier for me to get that nice bright blonde, because it's like, okay, now I don't have to worry about them being like, it's not, it's not icy.
Exactly. Yeah, icy. Whew. I mean, icy versus muted gray, it's like trying to get the perfect balance, and then we
Yep.
figure it out, and then they switch it to buttery.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
so
Yep.
let's get into this girly. I'm not sure this has any audio. It doesn't.
No, I don't think so.
Are you using the charcoal?
Yes, I am.
What brand of? Because I know there's now a couple.
So
Because
yeah, the
who did I just
charcoal,
see that has one now? Is it Joico?
I think it's Joico.
Okay.
So this brand is Lasat Milano. I believe they are based out of Europe.
Mm.
I believe so, Italy. And they have a charcoal lightener paste that is amazing. I love, experimenting. I've never tried. Prior to that point, I really didn't really dabble in a lot of different lighteners. I'm definitely a person who is a creature of habit. So once I started using it, I definitely saw a difference where it kind of tones as it lifts, because the charcoal neutralizes all the
Mm.
warm and unwanted tones. And especially with this client here, she has very hard water at home. So, we always struggle with the harsh tones, like the brassy tones with her. So I ended up using the charcoal lightener, and then paired with the fast foils that are the black foils that are, they're just better heat conductors, and the endothermic technology with them kind of traps
Really?
the heat.
What brand are those?
Fast foils.
Fast foils.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Huh.
Yep.
And that's the name of the brand, Fast
Yes.
Foils.
Yes.
Interesting. Are they sold in beauty supply stores, or is that
Not
online?
yet.
Okay.
They're trying to. They're pretty new, new on the scene, and they're a company from Canada, so they're trying to, put themselves out there more and working with distributors to get their products out there. But you can buy them directly off of their website.
I mean, you say fast in our world, and we're like, where's it at? Bring
No,
it.
seriously
I'm
though.
buying it. So with this young lady here, you did obviously teasy lights, and
Mm-hmm.
then you foliage. I don't
Yep.
know. What are we calling them? Foliage, I
Same
think is what
thing.
you were doing. And you didn't have to tone her anything. You just lift it to here.
So I did end up toning her, just because for me, I need to make sure that we, capped off the surface, whether it's a clear gloss or something to kind of enhance what it already is. Um, we toned her, I think we turned her on level. She was like a level 10. And there was just, I want to say, like a little bit of yellow left over. So we did like a
Mm.
light violet toner, very, very pale violet toner, to kind of just pull that yellowness out without darkening it, because we wanted
Mhm.
to stay nice and bright. But she is also someone that likes to go very far in between her appointments, and so the
Mhm.
teasy lights work great for that, because you that teasing kind of gives you a buffer to, if you have any mistakes or anything like that, it kind of blurs the line when you brush out the teasing. But she is a very, very natural girly. She doesn't like to be in the salon all the time. So we
Mhm.
do something very high placement, very bright. That way it could last her through. And she usually gets it done before the summer. So she usually comes in the spring. So it like gets her through the summer, because she's always outside.
Oh, wow. That's a great technique.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have this one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. This girly here.
Yeah, that's my girl Kirsta.
Okay.
She is definitely she has a beautiful base, beautiful chocolate base. So you can kind of do anything with that. So in the
Mhm.
summer, she likes to go a little bit lighter, nothing crazy, something that's still, she still wants to look like she's a brunette, but, have some dimension in her hair. again with the fast foils and the charcoal lightener, because especially with my darker haired girly, she's kind of on that cusp where she's a little bit too dark for her
Mhm.
hair to lighten naturally in the sun. So we
Mhm.
kind of base it off. Yeah,
Ooh.
she gets really bright. And she also is someone who does a really good job with taking care of her hair, comes in for her haircuts pretty often, because she's like one of those who has a lot of hair and she's like, I need to get it thinned out, like it's too thick for me. So yeah, she will do something like heavy like this in the summertime, and then usually when it comes to the fall, we'll root melt her, or drop down her toner and do something a little bit darker but still have that dimension in there. And so this is perfect because you have a lot of versatility with this kind of placement. Even though she's blonde, she can still change it up for the summer, she can still change it up for the fall, but not to the point where it's going to bring us back to square one when we want to go back to blonde again. So I like doing this is like a very heavy teasy light, but also intentional placement with my lightener. I do a lot of V's and a lot of slants and diagonals to give it that nice, like undone, sun kissed look without it making it look like, she just, went all full out.
Oh, yeah. I love the strategy and placement.
Hmm.
I think there should be a course, honestly, just in placement,
Oh, yeah.
versus teaching you how to lighten hair,
Hmm.
just placement. I would love to see that class where it's
Hmm.
just all different. And I feel like when I look at your account, you do just a myriad of techniques and placement. Like
Hmm.
you, my dear, could teach that class.
Thank
So
you.
let's see. I'm gonna do one last reel and then nope, let me go to your stills. So we have this one.
Yep. So
Tell me about this one.
I made this infographic because I would have my clients sit down in my chair and they'd be like, I want to be blonde. And I'd be like, okay, what
Mm.
kind of blonde do you want to be? They're like, what do you mean by that?
Mm.
And I feel like it's so hard because I know what, warm, neutral, cool means in my brain, but my client doesn't know that. And me
Yeah.
telling them what it is not gonna, nothing is gonna, click for them in that way. So I made this infographic because this was more of a visual tool for my clients that I could
Mhm.
pull up during our consultations and be like, all right, these are the three, different, the three main blondes that we have our warms, our neutrals, our cools. How
Yeah.
dramatic you want it to be, that's completely up to us, but this is pretty much like where you'll see and I feel like when they're right next to each other, you can kind of see the difference.
Mhm.
So this is a very helpful infographic for anyone who kind of wants to solidify their consultation and make
Mm.
sure that there's no miscommunication or anything like that. Some people, caramel is very, warm. And then for some people, caramel is like more like a mushroomy brown color. So I feel like it kind of eliminates any kind of miscommunication, any, misconceptions about what they think color looks like compared to what I think color looks like. And
Mhm.
it also is just I feel like people love side by sides, and they love
Mhm. Examples.
examples and
Mhm.
visual aids, because it kind of helps, it helps you, but it also helps your clients understand too.
There are often debates on number of foils. Speaking of foils, and this whole movement of overfoiling, right? Well, you should be able to get it done in 10 foils, 20 foils, or less. What do you say about the critics who would call such as what you just did overfoiling?
I just, everyone, whatever floats your boat. Some things might work for other people, it might not work for others. um Me personally, I understand the overfoiling movement because I definitely do overfoil, but I feel like it depends on what you're trying to achieve, because not every outcome is going to be achievable in 10, 15 foils. If you're just looking for something like very natural, very lived in, or if someone lifts like super easily or they have super fine hair, I feel like, you know, again, hair, the great thing about this industry is that it's not a one size fits all. It's not
Mhm.
you do this every single time and it's going to come out like this every single time. The beauty about working with human beings is there's a lot of variables. So, sometimes there will be times that I only use, 10, 9 foils on someone and it's like the most beautiful bright blonde you've ever seen. Sometimes I'll
Mhm.
do 107 foils and it comes out the same as it always comes out. I just feel like people shouldn't really, I don't want to say shame, but like kind
Yeah.
of dictate, what's right, what's wrong. This is how you should do it. If you want to try it, go ahead, try. If it works, that's great. If you want to tell people about it, 1000%. That's the whole
Yeah.
beauty of Instagram is,
Yeah.
you may not do it like this, but I do it like this and it works for me. It's like cooking videos on TikTok. Like,
Yeah.
you might not want to use wine to reduce something,
Sure.
use chicken stock instead. You
Mhm.
take some things and you leave others, but this whole like you shouldn't be doing this and you should be doing this instead, I feel like people kind of take it a little bit too literally. It also has to do with like media literacy where people will, you say something and people take it so to heart and they take it
Sure.
super seriously, and then you're like, no, like it wasn't meant to be like serious like that. But I feel like people should do whatever works for them. If it's not broken, don't fix it. But if you're looking to, try something new, a new technique, I mean, no one's to say that anything is wrong or right.
And, good on you too, because you have a variety of tools in your toolbox.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes people do kind of get pigeonholed into one look because they're not proficient in more than one technique.
Mhm.
They just go to the one they
Yeah.
like me in the gym. I just go to the exercises I like.
Yep.
So, yeah, which is not good, by the way. How do you decide when you're doing your foiling work the difference between using a slice versus a weave? Like, what are you thinking? Can you give us examples of why you would prefer one over the other? For example, if I'm new, I'm approaching a head of long hair, right?
Mhm.
And then that person comes to me and says, I want I want a lot of brightness around my face. I do want dimension, but I don't like lived in color.
Mhm. So I would I feel like I would use both in that scenario because when it comes to slicing, I feel like you can cover a lot of surface area with that. And when it comes to slicing, it the way the hair falls when you do a slice, it almost looks like you weaved it because it kind of like feathers out a little bit. And if you do, well, with the slices, you have to do very like fine sections. So that is more, I feel like that is more of like a detailing technique where I would use slicing like around the face or around the hairline, to kind of get nice and close to the root. That way it looks very seamless
You're
as
talking
it
about
grows out.
slicing you would use, or
Slicing
would
I
you
would use for that.
around the hairline?
Yeah. And then
Really?
yeah, and then for like the dimension, I would do the weaving because obviously you have those pieces left out and you
Sure.
get more of like, and this is going to sound really bad, but you get more of like the streakies,
Yeah.
the pops of the color, the dimension, the contrast of having the dark underneath the bright blonde because
Mm.
I am very perfectionist, very neurotic, very, tightly wound. So
Mhm.
if my weave is not perfect, I will sit there and do it again and again and
Really?
again, and I will waste time trying to perfect my weave. So I realize that if I just do a really thin slice, it's pretty much a baby weave anyways. So I just,
And
that's
you're
one
doing
way.
those thin slices back to
Yeah.
back. Yeah,
So
and
I leave the hair out in between. So I
you
feel
do
like
okay.
people get very confused with that because when they think slice, they think like platinum card, but pretty much I do take a regular like section.
Section.
I'm doing a weave, but I do a slice instead, and then you still get that leave out at the end.
Yeah, I've heard that, somebody kind of tested that theory, and they did a slice whole head on one mannequin and
Hmm.
then baby light weave whole head on another, and they looked exactly the same.
Hmm. So it's just work smarter, not harder in a way,
Mhm.
because again,
Mhm.
like you just have to, it's also understanding head shape and the properties of the hair,
Yeah.
when it comes to, the top of the head, it'll fan out. So you'll get that gorgeous, blended look with the same technique or pretty much the same look as a baby light. You're just not worried about getting the weave perfect. And, you have those combs that you kind of put the hair in and then it like weaves it out for you.
Mhm.
But I just feel like, me personally, I can like lose myself in like the moment in a way where I'm just like in the zone, like tunnel vision. I can't hear anything, and I'm just like, wait, why am I spending so much time on this one section? It's because I'm weaving. And it's like, so like I'll change my trajectory and do slices for the rest of the mohawk, and then luckily I'm crazy and I make sure that all of my partings are still the same so it looks the same. So the good thing about that is slices and baby lights are pretty much interchangeable depending on, I want to say, like how lazy you are. If you want to, just get it done quick, then slicing is definitely the way to go because
You
it
know
is a
what?
tedious task.
Yeah, and that's good to know because, if it's not necessary, why waste the time?
Hmm.
Because time is money
Hmm.
behind the chair. And if you're a slow foiler like myself,
Like
like you
myself
said
too.
you were, slicing, if I could slice instead of sit there, and
Yeah.
then all the better for me.
Yeah.
For your side panels, do you have a preference with horizontal partings, diagonal backs, or other placements? Like, why do you choose the placements that you choose?
Again, I feel like that would be depending on the end result. If someone's looking for more blonde coverage, I would do more horizontal partings because again, you take up a lot more space that way and you get more sheets of blonde as opposed to like ribbons of blonde. But if
Mm.
someone's looking for more of a dimensional and wants to see more pops of colors, I would do more of a diagonal site like subsection. That way you still get, there's almost like more leave out in that way.
Mhm.
And you get the movement and the blendiness of having like a very dimensional blonde without having to do like a foliage or a balayage or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in your hairdressing career, and how did you overcome those?
I would definitely say confidence was one thing that I struggled with so hard. And sometimes I still struggle on it, to this day. I feel like is a lot of it when it comes to being behind the chair is definitely mental. You have to be in a good mental space in order to exceed your client's expectations because they are coming to you're the expert and you need to be on your top game because if you're not then that's going to reflect on your work. I do struggle with anxiety and depression. I'm very vocal about it. I am very open about it with my clients because I do not want it to have a stigma where you know people are just saying whatever or thinking that I'm not you know I
That
just
you're
want
this
people to.
happy-go-lucky person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
all the time.
in a
Mhm.
way, I feel like I want my clients to kind of see me for who I am so they can trust me that I have their best intentions, um, that I have the only the best for them. But I feel like in the beginning, I feel like the being new and starting off and building your clientele is not for the weak. It is not something that is just going to one day you're just going to have all these people in your DMs just waiting to get in your chair. There were a lot of times where I was sitting for hours and not having anyone and just waiting for someone to call or for someone to walk through the door, and it really like it you kind of like get in your own head. You're like, well, if am I not good enough? Like, am I not doing what I'm supposed to do? It's a lot of hard work in the beginning, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize that, and then when they're in it they get discouraged because they didn't realize that it was going to be this hard. And so
Yeah.
I feel like as long as you're secure in yourself, secure in your craft, and confident in yourself, all of that stuff will come with. And even if you have a small clientele, focus on being the best hairstylist that you can for them, because word of mouth is definitely still the number one way to get clients. People, if they love you, they will talk about you. They
Mm-hmm.
will refer their friends, their coworkers, anyone to you at all. So I feel like, you have to hang in there, and you can't let it shake your confidence, because it's almost like, that's what your brain kind of wants you to do so you can give up. But I feel like that is definitely, confidence is what it goes into everything. It goes into how you formulate, it goes to how you act with your clients. And, even if you don't feel like, you know, confident or feel up to it, you have to fake it, because
Yeah.
again, like, we're in this industry to make people feel better. And there's definitely days, I mean, again, I have depression and anxiety. There's days where I'm like, I do not want to get out of bed. I
Mhm.
do not want to be around people right now. But I also remember that I literally have the best job. I love my job. I love what I do. And honestly, that's what keeps me going. And that's what keeps me, I don't know. I feel like I kind of like, I don't want to say I put on an act, but I feel like I'm a completely
Mhm.
different person when I'm behind the chair, because I'm in my element. And
Do you feel it's a little bit of escapism?
yeah, in a way,
Uh-huh.
because it doesn't feel like I'm working. I feel like
Yeah.
especially in the point where I'm at now in my career, a lot of my clients, we're on the same wavelength. A lot of them are my friends. So it's like, oh, I'm going to work to like do hair and like chat with my clients. Like, they become friends to me at this point. So it really, I will be like in the middle of doing a blow dry and I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe this is my job. And like, this is
Yeah.
what I do. And now I don't know who, but someone coined the term pink collar for our line of work, and I love that. And so I just feel like
What is it
it
called?
pink collar. So instead of blue collar, it's
Oh
pink
my
collar.
god, that's so cute.
Isn't
I
that so
love
cute?
that. Yeah.
So I just feel like, it's, you definitely want to get lost in your work in a way where when you're in the zone, when you're doing your thing, nothing else matters. Only you and your client matter in that moment. And that will come
Mhm.
with every client that you get, whether it's a lifer or someone that's going to teach you a really big lesson. But
Yeah, I've often said, in the beginning especially, I got the best advice from my mentor, who taught me everything I know today, but he said, "Don't worry about who's not in your chair, Kim, you cater to the ones who are."
mhm,
Because if you don't do that, then that little limiting belief, it will tear the whole house down.
mhm,
And I just came up with a series that I will be launching next week, and it's called Limiting Beliefs. And I'm just going to do 5-minute snippets of each week of a limiting belief and how to kind of reimagine or rethink some of those thoughts
mhm.
that get in our way.
And
Yeah.
we're all going to have those thoughts. I mean, we're
Oh my
human.
God.
We're going to
Imposter
have
syndrome
those
is a
times.
thing.
Exactly. Imposter syndrome. You're going to feel like, some days you're going to feel like none of this is worth it. But,
Mhm.
again, you wouldn't be human, and this wouldn't be your dream job if it was perfect all the time, every single time. I just feel like the confidence aspect of it really is what drives people to you and what kind of keeps you sane at the end of the day. So that would be my advice for people who are just starting
Yeah.
out, is to, just make sure that like you're doing everything you can to make sure that your mental health is healthy, and prioritizing, self-care for yourself, and making sure that like, I always, my clients love when they get shampooed by me, and it's because I do things the way I like them to be done. So
Mm.
I feel like, I have very high standards. So I feel like, that bodes very well for my clients, because they're like, okay, at least I know I'm in good hands. So,
You know,
It
that's
all
funny
goes
because
in.
some of my clients are like, "You shampoo hair like my grandmother, like head banging against something." Like, listen, it is not my favorite thing to do. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, with the ever evolving world of social media, what's one piece of advice you would give to new stylists trying to build their brand online? Because in that vein of what we just discussed, that can also just destroy your confidence. And I know for firsthand, because I'm new and building a brand and all the things. So you can have 50 people tell you you're great, but the one person who doesn't, that's the only thing you see.
Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't, I know, it's hard, especially in this day and age of social media. You see everything. I believe that us as humans, we weren't meant to see every single aspect of everyone's life. So I feel like it's
Yes.
definitely, you know, a side effect of overconsumption and
Mhm.
being, accessible for everyone and being able to access everyone's private lives through, social media. I feel like, comparison is a thief. Definitely do not compare yourself to other people. You don't know what they went through to get to that point. And, for all you know, you're comparing your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 20. So, it's very easy to look at someone's page and be like, wow, like I wish I could do this. I don't know why this is not working for me. I feel like you should just take social media as an inspiration, not as, gospel, because it's everyone's only going to post their highlights. No one posts their mess ups or
Mhm.
anything like that. No one's going to
Mhm.
post, the times where they're in the color room crying in the fetal position because they can't figure out a formula. No one's going to show you that kind of stuff. But I feel like engaging with other people, following your favorite accounts and, commenting on people's posts, that goes such a long way. And I feel like a lot of people, we kind of forgot that aspect of what this whole platform is about. And it's about coming
Mhm.
together. And especially with our industry, is supporting each other. So I feel like, start commenting on people's page, if they have something interactive in their story or they're asking a question, reply to that story. Just be genuine with your interactions
Mhm.
because that is like the most important thing. I appreciate it so much when people take the time to comment on my post or reply
Mhm.
to my story. I always try to, reply to them. And I feel like you can build a little community that way. If you're like, there was I think there's like a couple of people where I just like randomly started commenting on their stuff and then they comment on mine and then they start replying to my
Mhm.
story and now we're DMing
Mhm.
all the time. So I feel like you need to use social media for what it is, and it's a tool to get you
Right.
further into places, but it's not the final destination. It's not the end all be all. If Instagram ever goes away, they'll still be the industry, they'll still be your job at the end of the day. But use it as a tool where you can kind of show off your work, show who you are, show your personality, and then make connections because you never know, you might make a friend in California. Now you have a place to visit.
Well, it's true. I mean, I'm looking at all the people I've been able to connect with
Hmm. Hmm.
through I used to hate social media, and going into this show, I think the first 10 episodes I was so mad at, just salty all the
Yeah.
time, like, "Rrr."
Like, I
But
can't believe I have
now,
right now.
yes, exactly. And I'm like, but now I'm like, you know what? You just like in your life, you take I always say there's two sides of the street. There's the dark, cloudy side, and there's the sunny side. I
Mhm.
like to choose the sunny side of the street.
Yep. Yep.
If I can see it, I'm going to get on that side.
Mhm.
Because if you look at your life in the real world, do you know 50,000 people? If you're one that has 50,000 followers, no, you
Yep.
don't.
Yep.
So stop reacting to what they say in the comments. Who are these people?
Mhm.
Who cares? You know
And
what I mean?
there's always going to be someone that's going to have something to say. And
Always.
I just feel like, don't internalize that, just, let it roll off your shoulder. I
Mhm.
feel like, sometimes there's times where people will only like 13 people will like my stuff and I have 24,000 followers. Like
Right.
that. And, I feel like me 2 years ago would be like, oh my God, like, and now it looks like I'm such a loser because I don't, my likes don't correlate with my follows. But now at this point, I'm like, you know what, my clients and my followers still love my content, and those 13 people, I imagine them in my house saying, oh my God, I
Yeah,
like your video. That would be a lot. That would be very overwhelming.
exactly. A
So to
lot of
see it,
people.
to see it in that way, you always just have to. And then this is also coming from someone who loves to complain. I love to complain. If there's something to complain about, I am there. But at a
Yes.
certain point, like, you just have to look at the brighter side of things and stay optimistic and stay, hey, this sucks now, but you know what? I'll be on the other side of this soon. And, the stuff that you thought mattered is not going to matter. And,
It's not gonna matter in the end.
it's all
Yeah.
about how you make people feel. If you make people feel good with the content that you make and feel good with the
Mhm.
interactions that you have with people, that is going to go such a long way.
I agree. What's next for you, Natalie? What do you think is next? You are working behind the chair. Do you
Mhm.
have aspirations to do you have any exciting collaborations coming up
I
other than this
actually
one?
do. So I have a really exciting collaboration coming out with LaSap and Fast Foils that will be dropping sometime soon between before the end of the month. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be showcasing Fast Foils and LaSap's charcoal lightener, which we did touch upon in this interview. But these are two brands that I really love. Fast Foils, Ben, the co-founder, he is literally the sweetest person you'll ever meet. Jay, the head of education, he is like the best person ever. And then my contact at LaSap, like, it's just, I love working with companies that, think of the stylist and think about what can they do to make our lives easier behind the chair. So that's one collaboration that I'm very excited about. And I mean, for now, that's it. I'm just trying to get through the holiday season, and just try to. I just feel like people are like, oh, like, would you want to like open up your own place? I'm like, not really. I kind of just want to stay behind the chair. I love doing hair. I don't really like to do anything that's going to take my mind or take me away from behind the chair. So I will be behind the chair until my body tells me no.
I love that. And do you have a family? Do you have are you married? Do you have
So I
dog,
am
kids?
married.
What you
I
got?
I just got married in June with my
Congratulations.
husband. We've been together for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So very long time. Finally tied the knot this summer, and we're actually going to be going away for our honeymoon in 2 weeks.
I love where are you
So
going?
we're doing a cruise. Yep.
Okay.
And we're going to Aruba, Curacao, and the Bahamas.
Wow, that's fun.
Yep. So very much
I've heard Bahamas is really fun.
I'm excited. Very much needed vacation. And then besides that, I mean, it's just me, my husband, and our dog, and our little family might be expanding soon. We have no idea yet. Everything is still up in the air, but we're just trying to enjoy life. And I feel like a lot of what's happened, in the past couple of years, with COVID and just there's so many uncertainties. I just feel like we just have to enjoy our lives now because it's always the same. Like, I wish we knew we were in the good times when we knew
Yep.
it. And I
Yep.
feel like now it's time to like actually put that in, like just appreciate, the people that are in your life. I feel like, especially this year, with my wedding, there was so many events and stuff, and it kind of just
Yeah.
like put me in my feelings of like how much,
Yeah.
you know, how much it's important to have a good support system behind you.
Mhm.
My friends are literally the best people. They have supported my career since the very beginning. They have been liking all of my, even like my guy friends that know nothing about hair, like all my pictures. They voted for me for a one shot and stuff. And you know, it's definitely the family that you choose, but I also have a really good support system with, my family and my in-laws. It's just, I'm so grateful to have, people that love me, that care about me and want to see me succeed because they pretty much lift me up and make me feel worthy when I don't feel it myself. Um,
Yeah.
and again, a lot of this job is about how you feel and how you make other people feel. So, you know, I've always been a softie, and I feel like this is a great industry for me because I just love being able to make people feel good about themselves.
Aw. Wow, how heartfelt and just true. All of that you said, and being that you suffer with from depression and anxiety, it's nice to hear that you do have such a great support system.
Mhm.
I think it's important that we all have that. Some people are loners, some people can just beat to their own drum and they prefer that, which is perfectly fine as well. But those outlets are so healthy. When
Mhm.
something's trapped inside of your body, to get that out is just so healing,
Mhm.
more than people realize.
100%.
So, Natalie, it's been an amazing conversation with you. You did just I could talk to you all day,
Oh, thank
honestly. I
you.
really can. Like, you are a light.
Oh,
You are
thank you
a
so
joy.
much. I appreciate that.
And I hope no one ever dims your light,
Oh,
or you don't allow them to, I should say. That's right. So, at the end of my show, I am the queen of games.
ooh,
I don't know if you got a chance to look at any of my episodes, but I am the queen of games, and I have now invited her the crown for the queen, me.
love it.
So we are going to do the 60-second blowout, and we will see how many questions you get through. How well do
Woo.
you know yourself?
Oh, I'm excited.
Right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Favorite color to work with?
Blondes.
Go-to hair product you can't live without?
Frizz Shield Spray by Moroccan Oil.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Most memorable client request?
Someone asked me for a split dye once.
One hair trend you love?
Um, the bombshell blowouts.
One hair trend you can do without?
Calico hair color. Sorry, guys.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Top travel destination on your bucket list?
Europe.
Instagram or TikTok?
TikTok.
Best advice you've received in your career?
Um, oh, that's a hard one.
Secret talent or hobby?
I love to cook.
Favorite place to unwind?
My couch.
Guilty pleasure snack?
Um, oof, powdered donuts.
Love it. You did pretty good.
Thank
You know
you.
yourself pretty well. Now, just to show the people how humble you are,
Oh,
make your silliest selfie face.
oh man, this is like not my silliest, but this is like my go-to because I'm a millennial, so it's
There you go. I love it.
always the peace
Awesome.
sign.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. So let me get this thing out of my hair. There you go. Natalie, as I said, it was great chatting with you, and I hope you have the best week. Where can the people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram or on TikTok with the username Natty the Stylist with two E's, like Megan the Stallion.
Awesome. Have an amazing week.
Thank
Bye.
you.